Reorganizing everything around your barracks. You had no idea what was headed your way. The Imperial Japanese Navy approaches and launches 183 fighters and bombers from Japan's First Air Fleet toward Pearl Harbor. And so confident of total surprise are the attackers that as they approach the island, the coded signal indicating a totally successful surprise raid is flashed back to the carrier task force before the first bomb falls. Tora, 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 Tiger, Tiger, Tiger. A single remote radar station had spotted the incoming raiders, but mistook them for a flight of B-17s due in from the mainland. The B-17s arrive and, like America itself, find themselves in the middle of a war that had not yet been declared. Yes, this is Tora, 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 the surprise Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. We've taken you back to that fateful day of December 7th, 1941. To the right, you see the Japanese Zero coming in for a strafing run, followed by the Cape torpedo bombers and the Val dive bombers. The Zeros in front of you making their constant strafing runs. You can imagine what it must have been like with 183 of these airplanes. The attack from the Japanese aircraft carriers Akagi, Akaga, Hiryu, Soryu, and two new carriers, the Shokaku and Suikoku, lasts an hour and 45 minutes. This is it. Tora, 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 the surprise Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. When the first bombs began to fall, Army Air Corps pilots Kenneth Taylor and George Welch were just returning from a night on the town. These brave pilots raced to their Cutter Speed 40 Warhawks, which were fueled and armed with 30 caliber ammunition for aerial combat practice, and took off to join in the real thing. Two second lieutenants caught up with the Japanese at Iwa, a Marine base and auxiliary field close to Pearl Harbor and Hickam Field. After shooting down two Japanese Val dive bombers, Taylor and Welch ran out of ammunition, landed at Wheeler Field near the center of the island. There, Taylor and Welch reloaded with 30 and 50 caliber ammo and took off to fight again. A total of 6 Japanese warplanes were taken down before their own planes were disabled. Both pilots received a Distinguished Service Cross for their actions that infamous day. Yes, this is the surprise Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Watch the bombs exploding. Listen to the roar of the engines. You can imagine what it must have been like with 183 bombers and fighters from Japan's First Air Fleet. At Pearl Harbor and Hickam Field, the devastation was awesome. On the eastern edge of Ford Island, in the center of the harbor, 7 of our battleships lay at berth. The California, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Tennessee, Arizona, and the Nevada. The Japanese hit first with Cape torpedo bombers like you see going by on your left, right there. The initial wave of Capes hit the Oklahoma, California, Nevada, West Virginia, and the Utah. These Capes were equipped with special shallow running torpedoes designed specifically for the attack on Pearl Harbor. You see, the shallow waters in Pearl Harbor would not allow the use of normal deep-running torpedoes. This would take away any claim that the Japanese might make that this was an attack of opportunity. You see the Cape torpedo bombers coming in from the left with those torpedoes, those shallow-running torpedoes slung underneath. Then came the Val dive bombers, like the red-tailed airplane coming in behind them, armed with 1,700-pound armor-busting projectiles made for 16-inch battleship guns, but converted to aerial bombs. These planes dived down on the Nevada and the Arizona. The aircraft fire veered the Vals away from the Nevada on the first wave, but the Arizona wasn't that lucky. A bomb from a Cape bomber stabbed the Arizona through her forward magazines and exploded, touching off more than 1 million pounds of gunpowder. A sailor on the Nevada watched the Arizona jump up at least 15 to 20 feet in the water and break into 2 pieces, forever entrapping 1,200 American servicemen in an underwater tube. The ship sank in less than 3 minutes and remains at the bottom of Pearl Harbor as a memorial to all those who lost their lives that infamous day. Listen to the sounds of battle, the bombs going off. We've taken you back to that fateful day of December 7th, 1941. Station Iwa, PFC Melvin Thompson was on guard duty when 9 Zeros attacked the base. Thompson stepped out of his guard shack, drew his .45 caliber pistol, and began firing on the Zeros. A Japanese pilot, one of the 9 planes, saw Thompson firing back. And years later, Yoshio Shiga remembered Thompson's tenacity and fighting spirit, describing the lone Marine as the bravest American I have ever seen. All over the island of Oahu, soldiers were bringing their weapons to bear in this unexpected fight. Anything they could get working. The .45 caliber pistols like the one Melvin Thompson used, Springfield rifles, and in some cases, our soldiers were able to get the .30 caliber and .50 caliber belt-fed machine guns into action, bringing down numerous marauding Japanese Zeros, Vals, and Kates. But their number was overwhelming, and they caught us completely by surprise. 183 Japanese Zeros, Vals, Kates, wreaking havoc all over the island of Oahu, but focusing on Pearl Harbor and Hickam Field. At Bellows Field, on the northeast coast of the island, more U.S. Army Air Corps pilots were racing to their P-40s. Just then, Japanese Zeros appeared and started strafing runs. One P-40 pilot was killed as he stepped into his cockpit. 2 other P-40s were down just as they got off the ground. Yes, ladies and gentlemen and kids, this is living history. This is a reenactment of the surprise Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, the Tora attack. We've taken you back to 7:55 a.m. December 7th of 1941. Look at the Zero coming in from the right, smoke on right down on the right, simulating the strafing runs that the Zeros made time after time after time. Coming in from your left, the Kate torpedo bombers dropping those special shallow running torpedoes that wreaked such damage to our battleships and cruisers in the harbor. And the Val dive bomber coming in from the left, dropping those 1,700-pound armor-busting bombs. Yes, this is Tora, the surprise Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, and we've taken you back to that fateful day. The flight of 16 B-17s coming from the mainland arrived and are immediately attacked by the marauding Japanese Zeros. In the confusion, the B-17s were shot at by friend and foe, and the frightened pilots landed wherever they could. One in a pineapple field not far from Hickam Field. One B-17 pilot, a Major Landon, trying to land said, "What a hell of a way to enter a war. Out of gas, unarmed, and no place to land." Yes, this is the surprise Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. The bombs still going off. Listen to the roar of the engines, and you can just imagine what it must have been like that day. December 7th, 1941, 7:55 a.m. It was peaceful until that hour, and then all hell broke loose. 16 B-17s tried to make it to land. Only 8 of the B-17s actually made it to Hickam Field. At the conclusion of the surprise Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, more than half of America's entire naval fleet had been destroyed or damaged. Nearly 2,400 Americans were killed, 1,200 wounded, and at the time, 960 were missing. 151 aircraft were destroyed as they sat on the ground. Virtually every U.S. military aircraft in Hawaii. 2 battleships, 3 destroyers, 2 light cruisers were destroyed. 6 battleships were damaged. Our greatest naval base lay in ruins, along with our complacency. The following day, December 8, 1941, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt announced our entry into World War II with these words to Congress, the citizens of the United States, and the world.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. It will be recorded that the distance of Hawaii from Japan makes it obvious that the attack was deliberately planned many days or even weeks ago. The attack yesterday on the Hawaiian Islands has caused severe damage to American naval and military forces. No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory.
In the 44 months of fighting that followed, the United States sank every one of the Japanese aircraft carriers, battleships, and cruisers of the Pearl Harbor Task Force. Nagasaki, the city where the special armor-busting bombs were made, was destroyed by a United States atomic bomb on August 9th of 1945. And when the Japanese surrender document was signed on September 2nd, among the U.S. warships in Tokyo Bay was the West Virginia. Would you please join me in a moment of silence in memory of all those who lost their lives that infamous day. And now, listen to the late, great Kate Smith singing God Bless America. And let me tell you that we do not mean to glorify war with this demonstration. We honor a time when our nation was strong and united. In the 3.5 years after this attack, we, the people of the United States, put 16 million men in uniform, built 100,000 fighter aircraft, 98,000 bombers, 24,000 transport planes, 58,000 trainers, 22 aircraft carriers, over 1,000 other floating ships, and thousands of ground vehicles. Our dedication led to the surrender not only of Japan, but Nazi Germany as well. We do this in appreciation of that dedication, determination, and effort, and extend our appreciation to the men and women fighting for our freedom today, especially those here at Mountain Home Air Force Base. We salute them all, past, present, and future. Cameras ready from the right. The Tora aircraft will come in, turn the smoke on, and give a final salute to everyone here at Mountain Home Air Force Base, Idaho. Get your cameras ready. Then it will be my pleasure to introduce the individual members of the Tora crew as they pass in review. Second generation Tora pilots in today's performance, and it'll be my pleasure to point each one of them out to you. One of them is our Tora lead. He'll be coming over your left shoulder in just a moment. Flying 0115, Mike Burke from Galveston, Texas. Behind him, another second generation Tora pilot, Patrick Hutchins from Bayou Vista, Texas. And Kate 313, Bill Fear from Austin, Texas. Kate 356, Bob Watts from Muskogee, Oklahoma. Val 78, Doug Durr from the Woodlands, north of Houston. And 0114, Dan Reedy from Pasadena, Texas. Our pyro lead is Gordy Webb from Springport, Michigan. My name is Ray Norton. I'm from the Rio Grande Valley of Texas, McAllen. We are Tora, Tora, Tora! And now, coming from your left, one of our Tora pilots is working on his unlimited aerobatic license, Jim Ryan, flying for crew as they pass in review. He'll be coming over your left shoulder in just a moment. Flying 0115, Mike Burke from Galveston, Texas. Behind him, another second generation Tora pilot, Patrick Hutchins from Bayou Vista, Texas. Brazoria County Mosquito Control District. Brazoria County is southwest of Houston, Texas. He and his wife Miriam reside in Surfside, down near the Gulf of Mexico. However, they're under construction with a hangar and a residence in the hangar, kind of a condominium. We call it a hangar-minium in Needville, Texas, not too far from Surfside. They'll be moving up there very shortly. And there's Jim once again right in front of you, doing a 4-point hesitation roll, hesitating the 0 at every 90 degrees of roll position. Jim is in the final stage of his routine to get his unlimited aerobatic license, and the unlimited license means that he can fly as close to the ground as he feels safe. Right now he's at 250 feet, which is the third of the 3 levels. They start at 800 for a certain time before they get qualified by an examiner. Then they come down to 500, then 250, and finally they get their unlimited license. Jim is very close to getting his unlimited license. Here he comes in. Once again, smoke is on. .600 horsepower radial engine at the front of that airplane. Jim is doing a classic Cuban 8 maneuver for you. If you had no wind, you would see a figure 8 lying on its side in the sky. Taxiing in from the left, the members of the Tora Squadron: Mike Burke, Patrick Hutchins, Bill Fear, Bob Watts, Doug Durr, and Dan Reedy. Give them a wave. Let them know that you appreciated them flying for you today. We do this all volunteer as a means of raising money to maintain these gallant airplanes, many of which are over 75 years old. Let them know you appreciated them flying for you today. Water down the weed. Well, Mike,
Yes, Ray.
it's your turn again.
Thank you so much. Ray Norton, the voice of Tora, Tora, Tora. This demonstration here this weekend, the 75th anniversary of the Mountain Home Air Force Base. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move from the Pacific Theater of Operation to the European Theater in the dark days of World War II over Europe. Allied bombers were tasked with the strategic bombing of military and industrial targets. Bombers such as the B-17 and B-24 had a greater range than their fighter escorts, which often left the bombers unprotected against enemy fighters. Losses were high and bomber crew morale was low. In late 1943, the United States Army Air Force introduced the P-51 Mustang. With its longer range, exceptional maneuverability, and good firepower, the P-51 Mustang was able to stay with the bomber formations all the way to the target, engage the enemy, and bring those bombers back home. Bomber losses decreased, the Luftwaffe began to lose the battle in the air. Mustangs destroyed 4,950 aircraft of the enemy in Europe to make them the highest scoring U.S. fighter in the European theater. They were used as dive bombers, bomber escorts, ground attack, interceptor, photo recon aircraft, trainers, and transports. The P-51 originally was designed by North American for the British Royal Air Force. It was the British that gave it the name the Mustang. It was also the British that provided the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine that made the Mustang such an outstanding performer. The Merlin is a